Surprisingly, he says, "Why don't you try acting?" I have never been so happy in my life. Something I've never spoken about actually. I take a long time to understand what is acting. Accomplished family में मुझे बहू बन के जाना है. Hi everyone, I'm Nehal Chudasama. You're watching me on Now Streaming with Shlok Chaturvedi.
Hello friends and welcome to Now Streaming. Today we have with us the very multi-talented and upcoming star, well, she's already a star, Nehal Chudasama. Thank you so much for being here. Really happy to have this conversation with you.
Thank you for having me.
So Nehal, you started out your career as a model and you're transitioning into acting, trying to establish yourself as an actor now. So what made you think that, okay, now you want to take that leap?
Wow. So quickly, I never really planned on being a model or an actor.
Okay.
I come from a very conventional Gujarati family where, for my dad, he wanted me to get married at the age of 18, cook food for my family, take care of my family. But I wasn't one of those people who wanted to have that route. I've always been very independent and very like someone who wants to have control in her life. So I wanted to do something different from the conventional things that people expect women to do in their lives. So back in 2013, when I was 17 years old, I watched Miss India pageant, and I was quite fascinated with the idea of women using their femininity to as a stage to reach out to people and keep their opinions across, and the whole concept of beauty with purpose and how you can reach out to people in different ways, use your voice as your power, and that literally fascinated me a lot. And since then I had planned on to participate in Miss India or Miss Diva, representing in India internationally. So that's where my journey started, and it wasn't easy. It took me 7 years to actually be crowned as Miss India. So 7 years of hard work, 7 years of patience, and everything that it takes to be one. So yeah.
Wow, okay, I mean that sounds like a really tough journey. I mean, given the fact that you're not from that environment, because a lot of the things that we do are a part of the environment that we grew up in.
True.
So to make that leap, I mean, I guess it would require a great sense of self-belief and confidence, I feel.
Absolutely.
And you pretty much did answer my next question, which was, because what I read about you, you were someone who studied in Thakur College, very mainstream kind of education. Because sometimes people, they prepare for this by, joining a college that...
Yeah. I would answer that question of yours as well. So I've studied BCom. I have a degree in commerce. And I was actually planning to give my UPSC exams. I was aspiring to be an IPS officer. In fact, I have a lot of interviews out there where I'm speaking, where people are asking me even after winning Miss Diva that what are your future plans? Are you planning to are you planning to go in Bollywood, step in Bollywood? And I've said no. I'm embarrassed. I've said no because I was preparing for UPSC, and I've always been this kid who, when I put my heart into something, I accomplish it. It may take some time, but I do it. I've always been that person. So I was quite confident. But then eventually, the same year when I was preparing for MPSC, I had almost enrolled for the exams. The same year, Femina Miss India Gujarat happened. I was one of the top 3 from the state of Gujarat. And the same year, I happened to win Miss Diva 2018 and represent India at the Miss Universe pageant. So I think destiny has its own way of showing us the path. So.
I mean, see, I don't know about destiny and all because, sometimes it brings you to one thing, but you've literally done everything. Matlab, UPSC kar liya, now you're a fitness consultant, you're an MC, so matlab you're doing everything. It's just, it's really nice. It's very inspiring to a lot of people who must be growing up in a similar conservative background, not exposed to a lot of things that generally a lot of other people are exposed to, and to make that jump would be, to say the least, very enterprising. And I think if I'm not wrong, you won at the age of 22, right?
Yes, right. Yeah.
So that means your prep would have started like a few years earlier than that. So at a time where you're 19, 20, and generally people in college, you want to have fun, you want to just do whatever you want to in life. What at that age, what was the motivation for you to focus more on building yourself than anything else?
Right. So let's be precise. I was 17.
Okay.
That's when I thought of participating in Miss India and, being self-reliant basically. So at the age of 13, I lost my mother to ovarian cancer. And I've never had that kind of support or guidance in my life, which a motherly figure gives. So I think that incident sort of helped me understand that I will always have to be self-reliant, not dependent on anybody else, not even my father. And I need to do something that helps me in my life, So that thought sort of emerged from the age of 17, and I wanted to do something on my own. So I think that where it begins from. So 17, I've been preparing for my dream.
Right.
It's my dream. It's not my brother's, it's not my father's, it's my dream, and I need to go get it. That's the only thought I had in my mind. Every night whenever I would sleep, I would think about being at Miss Universe stage representing India. Morning I would wake up with that thought, and I sort of started manifesting my life accordingly. I'm not sure if you've seen my transformation pictures, but from the place that I come from, I think that's why people love me more, because they're able to relate with my journey. They see themselves in it, that if Nehal could do it, this girl can do it, we can do it as well. So, and that's what I reflect. I always want to reflect that I want people to relate with me, and I think that's just how I live my life.
Yeah, I mean, being self-reliant is great. Trying to do things for yourself is great. But when you see that having a positive impact on people, and sometimes, and I mean, especially in a field like yours, a lot of these people you don't even know personally, but you're still having that impact in their life.
Yeah.
Right. So when you were preparing for, when you actually got to the stage, right? Okay, now I am participating in this competition. What do you think were the biggest challenges when you were finally at that stage?
Right. I think the biggest challenge for me was, so I was competing with 20, 30. When I was at Miss Universe also, I was competing with 90 stunning women. Best women they send, representatives they send from their countries. But I was always very confident about who I am as a person, my journey, my hard work. My biggest challenge was, I've never come from a financially strong background. So where you see women wearing these stunning dresses and have learned and have groomed themselves, I would always be an underdog.
Right.
So someone who wouldn't get the attention from the audience at first, but when I speak, I know I'll have their love and their attention that's needed. So that's one challenge, because I've always been, I'm like lower financial background, so that has always been one challenge, and I think that sort of has also helped me realize how important it is for a woman to be financially independent.
Right.
Everyone, each one of us, because once you're there, then you don't need somebody else to rely on anyway. So I think that's been one challenge which I feel I've overcome.
So when you finally were crowned, right, like overcoming all these challenges, where you have, of course, a sense of because a lot of people can really crumble in that thing, that oh ये तो ये पहन के आई है, इसने तो ये यहाँ से पढ़ के आई है, इसने तो she's done her studying from a fashion school, or she's done this, she's done that, this is her background, this is the kind of people she knows. When you finally overcome that and you are crowned, and I saw your presentation, and you were into tears, right, when you were crowned, and when you went back home, there was this nice huge homecoming for you, like a proper felicitation. So it was very wholesome to see, of course. So how would you describe that feeling?
Wow, I have never been so happy in my life. The whole winning Miss Diva and competing at Miss Universe journey is the most cherished few months of my life. It was amazing. Imagine people who don't know you personally coming and being a part of your celebration. I have never seen that happening in my life, even with my relatives, even with my closed ones, So I was in tears throughout all those months. And I think that sort of also motivated me to give my best to be a better person every day towards the Miss Universe journey, because it wasn't now just the inner motivation. It was all these people from all different walks of life, not knowing you personally, but supporting you selflessly is what motivated me to do more. Even today, I'll tell you, it's been 5 years since I've been crowned. But all these people, so usually once you're done with your pageant, people forget you. You know, like, oh, she's done 2018. But they still show me the same kind of support that they've shown me at Miss Universe, and it's incredible. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps right now, but it's incredible. I cannot believe I'm getting such a support. So, yeah.
I mean, I guess from the outside, probably what I can see is that it's quite, I mean, it's quite obvious you'd get that support because you seem like someone who keeps going at it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, and not to judge others, but like, you know, lot of times people, after reaching a sort of a pinnacle, they sometimes cool down, which you did not do, right? And sometimes it's like, okay, you're going into that one direction, you're doing modeling, and you know, you've already been crowned. So now what's next?
Yeah.
Right? You've already been crowned.
Right.
You've already been at the biggest of the stages.
Right.
So people will wonder, okay, what next? This journey is over. But you started a new journey. You started a new journey and a new journey and a new journey. And now you're starring in an OTT show on MX Player, which is Zakhm Hai. You have a film that is coming out. So for someone who you can see that, okay, you know what, this person's journey is not over yet. You're going to keep backing them. You're going to keep, you know, looking at that. So I think that is what I would take away from that. Now you're starring in Zakhm Hai, which is it's getting, you know, a lot of views. A lot of people are talking about it. And it's, you know, even your explore pages and stuff, there are reels of you and stuff like that. So sometimes it must also be nice to see, you know, when you're just, I mean, I don't know if you do that also because you're so dedicated to your work, but you're just scrolling once in a while and you see your own reel. How does that feel for you?
Listen, I am dedicated to my work, but there are certain hours that I give to myself, and I definitely scroll through Instagram and reels because again, that is also a part of my job these days. I don't know where has that come from, but it is because being on Instagram as an actor, as an artist, to be specific, is very important because that is one of the ways of reaching out to the audience, you see. So I do scroll, and when I scroll, let's say I'm scrolling and then suddenly a reel comes up where Shania Suri is, then I'm like, yay! It's a completely different feeling from representing India at Miss Universe, but it's an accomplishment for sure. In fact, I was just telling my POC how I was working out at the gym, and a person would just keep staring at me for half an hour, and I thought maybe because I work out that way, I lift heavy weights and all that, it's very normal for me, not showing off, but yeah. But then he walks up to me, he gathers his courage and he's like, Shania Suri, and I was taken aback. I'm like, I've always got people asking me, Nehal Chudasama, are you Nehal? But this was something different, and it really made me happy as an artist because this shows that people are recognizing you as a character that you worked so hard on. Being recognized as a former Miss India is an achievement for sure. But now, because I've took this path towards being an actor, being an artist, people recognizing your talent is equally important for me, and it's cherishing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be really nice. I mean, which shows that, you know, your character, your performance that you did in that particular series has been imbibed into someone's head, and they're like, okay. And it's not like you look exactly the same as you are in person that you do than you do in your character. So now the fact that you said that, you know, you're getting into acting, it's becoming a very, you're trying to make that transition. You're trying to turn into more of an artist. Firstly, when did that come to your head? Like, when did you decide that, okay, you know what, because yes, you watched Miss Universe on TV and you decided that, but that was a very young person. Like now, what made you decide to be an actor?
All right, so it's something I've never spoken about actually, you know.
Exclusive.
So I came back from Miss Universe and I was sort of depressed. Only pageant fans would know why, because I had received incredible love and support across the world, and 2018 everybody thought Miss India would win Miss Universe because of the whole journey and, you know, my stage presence and everything. But eventually I didn't, and because it was also my dream to win Miss Universe, I was sort of sad and depressed for a long time. So my father sort of saw me, you know, he was like, what's happening to my daughter? So he was, contrary to what he would say in the past, not very supportive about being in this field. He was the one who told me, he just sat alongside and surprisingly he says, why don't you try acting? I was taken aback because, see, it's an achievement, right? Like being able to convince your parents what you want to do in life and them seeing you achieving those things is an incredible achievement as an individual. A lot of people, I'm just going towards something different, but I really want to address this. A lot of kids, teenagers on Instagram, young people, they ask me how to convince our parents. We're very dedicated, but how do we talk to our parents? So just show them, just make them believe in your vision is my word. How you do that, that's on you. Everybody has a different path, but this is what I did. I really worked hard on myself day and night, and my father saw that. And when I achieved it, that's when he started believing in me. So I think this is one of the ways to convince your parents. So my father told me, why don't you try acting? So I just picked that thought, and I thought, you know what, let's just, instead of sitting home whole day long doing nothing, not being productive, where as you can be very productive and out there, I thought of taking an acting workshop. Now I did an acting workshop, and it did two things. One, of course, it dragged me out of that dark zone, and second, I developed a new love towards this art form. And love and how, I can't express that in words right now, but I never thought I could be an actor. Or maybe because I was always told that I wasn't, like conventionally beautiful, or because I come from a middle class family, or because I don't have what it takes to be an actor. That's why I never thought of it. But when I did this acting workshop, I was surprised at myself that, this is also something I can do in my life, and how, like passionately and lovingly. Right. So that is, I think, what changed my life towards this art form. And immediately within a month and a half of doing acting workshop, of doing a TVC, I signed my first film, my Bollywood debut.
Right.
So it's not just that I was in love with the art form, but also that I could do it. Like reality with dream is something that I always believe in.
Fair.
You can't be just blindly dreaming about things. So everything was just falling in place for me, and that sort of encouraged me to be an actor. So,
right.
yeah.
What were the biggest challenges that you faced from transitioning into acting? I mean, because definitely you're prepared to walk on a ramp, but to perform a scene, I'm not saying to equate or to compare the two, but they're definitely different.
Right.
Different kinds of preparations.
True. Absolutely.
So when your first day on set, what were the biggest challenges that you faced that you're like, okay, this is a different world?
Right. Okay. So there are a set of challenges, but I'd like to highlight a few. First is, see, if someone else, let's say you begin as an actor, right? You start your journey as a normal individual, right? As someone probably people don't know, My biggest challenge was something that I really had to work on, was starting from the scratch again. Because now it's not like you're going from A, B, C to Upar. It's like you're a Miss India. So when I would go to these auditions for TVCs or bigger projects, I would sit in a room with 50, 60 to 200 people as well, waiting for my turn, and 60-70% of the people knowing who I was. And it was, it's difficult when people say, oh, you're Nehal Chudasama, and then you're like, oh yes, they know me and I'm sitting here as an actor. It triggers you mentally somewhere, because these are the people who look up to you, and then you're suddenly one among them. Right. As a 23-year-old, I definitely was in that mind space. Right. But then I really had to work mentally for that it's okay to start from the scratch. Right. It's okay to be putting all the effort again all over to do something new. Right. So I really had to mentally prepare myself. Second, I don't want to use this word, but this is what people will relate with a lot: outsider. Like, I don't come from a filmy background, not even close to entertainment industry. Like, my father doesn't know how it functions even today. So understanding, it takes a long time for a person who does not come from a filmy background to understand how does the industry function, right? First, what is acting? I take a long time to understand what is acting. Then how the industry functions, who's who of the industry. You have to make connections, there are lots of talented actors out there. Yeah. You can act well. Everybody in this room, I feel, can act. But it takes the right connection, right timing, right opportunity to actually crack a job. And trust me, I've given millions of auditions every day. I've given at least 5, 6 to 8, 10 auditions every day from home or in studio or whatsoever. So it takes a lot to for an outsider. Sorry if that is a little offensive, but yeah. Even today, after doing 1-2 projects, it's taking me a lot of time to actually crack a job. Even today, when people know who Nehal Chudasama is, you know. So it's been, so these are the two difficulties. Rest, I think everything else, I just keep working on it. I have the superpower of surpassing obstacles somehow. I'm sure all of us have it. So yeah.
I mean, I don't know about all of us. I'm barely managing to take this interview.
I mean, you're sitting here with me.
Oh yes, of course. You know, you like the way you described your life, someone who is, like you said, of course, outsider. But
Yeah.
okay. Someone, and as we were talking just before the interview, you travel from Borivali to Andheri every day, and you know you have that very, typical hustle Bombay life.
Yes, true.
How does that relate to a South Delhi girl, madly in love with this one guy, completely submissive, like your character?
I will tell you, Shania and Nehal are two different people. It's completely different, and I really, apart from what I look like, I really had to work a lot, like with my backstory and all of that, as to become Shania Suri, to breathe like Shania Suri, you know. Like, I can never imagine how a South Bombay girl or a South Delhi girl, what her life would be, you know, like never, because I've never been there. I may have had friends, but again, these people don't talk about their lives. They just want to know about parties. Oh, I did this. Oh, this is how we talk. This is what we eat. This is where we go. You know, so that's what Shania is. So so two different people. Now, my method of becoming Shania was actually a challenge, but equally beautiful, because I got to live that part which Nehal has never been, and that was amazing. You know what I did? Okay, it's fun, all right? So in pandemic, when people were just chilling and doing nothing, I was on this app called Clubhouse. I'm not promoting it. I'm just, everybody knows about it. It had like a good boost, and so I made friends from all these different parts of India, majorly from Delhi. You know, I think I believe in things falling in place. I believe in destiny and hard work going together. So I made friends from Delhi, and I made a lot of girlfriends from Delhi. Okay, girls who actually reflect as Shania. All right, like, see, it's in their upbringing. Like South Delhi, life is very privileged. Not generalizing it, but a lot of people come from a privileged background, you know. Like, they've always had the money, they've always had everything they ever wanted, and they've never really had to work because their ancestors ever had businesses, accomplished jobs for them and all of that. So that's what Shania is. She's always had the money, the power. She has a rich dad. Everybody revolves around her. So that's Shania. Completely different from Nehal. So I think, so that's where I picked it from, how they talk, what their mentality is, what their thought process is. You know, like, I feel sad while seeing this, but a lot of women, even today, are taught to be dependent on their male counterparts. Be it their brother, be it their boyfriend, be it their husband. A lot of women are brought up in a way that, you know, the only goal of their life is to marry a guy.
Right.
So then you groom accordingly, you behave accordingly, you go to places accordingly, you eat accordingly, you talk accordingly. Just the only goal is कि किसी, you know, accomplished family में मुझे बहू बन के जाना है, या मुझे किसी accomplished man से शादी करनी है. So that's Shania. Now Shania finds Viraj, and she just starts believing that this is the man, and I am in love with him because this is all I want in life. This was my goal, and I have it. So I'm the queen of the world now because he's my king. So that's Shania's backstory, and that's her thought process. And she's super submissive, which is absolutely opposite to what Nehal is. Nehal is more like, Nehal has control in her life. She's not dominating, but she has the power. She's a leader. Shania is not. Shania is very submissive. All that she always thinks about is Viraj. So Shania needs Viraj. Nehal may not need a man. I may want a man, but I don't need. So it's a huge difference. The only thing that, as in while preparing for Shania, that I observed was a commonality was, so Shania doesn't have a mother. Nehal doesn't have a mother. So I somehow tried to connect because when it comes to doing all these heavy emotions, you need to connect your inner self with the characters somehow, so that you're able to understand why is she crying, why isn't she in need of a man instead of wanting him, and why does her life revolve around him. Because so I think I used some of my emotions to connect with Shania's some or the other point. So, I loved all Shania's breakdown scenes and where she's vulnerable actually.
Right.
So, because that's when Nehal connects her with. So, yeah.
Right. So your character is also something that's going from a submissive to, towards the latter parts of it, a more dominating, or rather you'd say self-assured kind of a person, right? So would that be the part where the more of Nehal was coming in, and you started to use those attributes of your life?
So I'm not going to reveal exactly what happens in there, because you guys need to watch the Zakhm Hai for that. But she's not completely self-reliant. I think Shania just sort of takes a few steps to show Viraj her place in his life. Again, like just to convince him that I'm important to you, you need to understand that I can also do certain things if you leave me or whatsoever. But not completely self-reliant. I think she just does things out of naiveness, is what I feel. So if I have to really rate how close to Nehal Shania is, I think probably 10%.
Right. And what about your, upcoming film? How's that character doing for you? After playing Shania, how do you deal with the character in Laila Manju?
Right. Oh wow. So I'm really excited for Laila Manju. I am waiting for my makers to give me a date of release, because Laila Manju is close to my heart, because that's actually me first facing my camera.
Okay.
So that's my Bollywood debut, and that's the first time I faced camera as an actor. And it's India's first film on Drag Race. And yes, I don't think any of the films have introduced Drag Race in India. So that's India's first film. And it also rotates around racism and all of that. So it has a lot coming in with that project. I think my character in that movie is a strong, independent girl. But she's more of a sweet girl, like very selfless, and just she would do anything for other people that she considers hers, or anybody regardless. So I think it's completely opposite from Shania. Shania is not selfless; she's selfish. But that girl, I mean, I don't want to really reveal the name of the character, but
Right.
Yeah, but that character is very selfless and sweet. You'll fall in love with my Laila Manju's character. So
definitely, we're all very excited to see that.
Yeah.
So, do you think the acting classes that you took and whatever preparation that you did, how much do you think that helped you in, say, one, transitioning from that submissive to a little more self-reliant character into Zakhm Hai, or the character that you played in Laila Manju?
Right.
So how much do you think acting training helps someone?
I think it works different for everyone.
Okay.
You do the same coaching as me, and you learn different ways of acting. So what I do is, every acting workshop that I've done, it has only helped me understand myself better, my emotions better. Like how to break a graph, or how a single line can actually emote 3-4 emotions in those 5-6 words. It works different for everyone. It has worked in this way for me, that it has just helped me understand myself better, and then I read the script and then I work on how to project the character differently. But yeah, workshops really help you, because it breaks you from your comfort zone. It makes you realize how you can do 10 things instead of 2. So yeah, they've really helped me a lot. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, we've seen you in pageants, we've seen you in TV shows, we've seen you as an MC, we've seen you. Am I gonna take an interview 5 years later as a director or something? I mean, I don't know, because
you never know. I believe in being infinite in every direction.
Right.
So why not? Or probably like an international actor, maybe.
Yes,
you never know.
Absolutely. You're gonna have your own Quantico.
Yeah.
Right. So, it was really, really nice having this chat with you.
Thank
to
you.
learn more about what went behind your very multifaceted life. Yeah, I definitely hope to have another chat with you again. All jokes aside, because I'm pretty sure that you're going to do bigger and bigger things.
Yeah.
And yes, like you said, I'm sitting with you, right?
Yeah.
I'd want to sit with you with that excitement again. So
Right.
thank you so much for being
Wishing
here.
the same for you, and how about manifesting that I take your interview in the
Oh,
future?
mm.
Okay. Why? Everything is possible, yeah.
Yeah, why not?
So,
Why not?
yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to Radio City.